It's chunky time. Time to put this grill on so I can get the headlights on. Time to put this bumper on. I want to drive this vehicle on the street for the first time, put a tag on it, insurance, and get it to the muffler shop. But there's several things that I have to do before then. I think I'm going to need wipers. And the muffler shop is going to need to be able to put the doghouse on to test fit this extremely difficult angle here. But they will not be able to put that doghouse on unless I fix this dipstick that sticks out too far. This 300 came out of a Ford F-150. I'm assuming 300s from vans have a different dipstick. I looked up on eBay and the price of one that someone's wanting is just plain ridiculous, so I'm thinking about just figuring out a way to make this work for now till I find one of those, or maybe even custom make a dipstick. So I just put this grill in with 3 bolts for now because I've still got the heater core to work on, and then what they call a weather tray that goes in here. I just realized too, before I go anywhere, I need to put some sort of battery hold down on this. So I tested the park lights and only one of them's working, but the 2 filament part for turn signals is working on both of them. So I might have to replace a bulb. And then I've only got 1 working headlight, so I might get a pair of those. If you've been watching for a while, you may remember this whole area of the van was completely rusted out, and so was the bumper bracket, so I got another one. This is the one that I got in the mail from a guy in Oklahoma. It's been sandblasted and painted. And the one for the driver's side was not rusted through, but it's going to need some attention and paint before I move forward. Now, I would have liked to have put this in the sandblaster, but it is not working properly. It won't pick up the sand, it gets stopped up. I don't know if it's because of condensation. I may need to put like a water filter in line. But I've also seen that a lot of people that buy those Harbor Freight sandblasters have to modify them quite a bit to get them to work correctly. All right, I got this bumper bracket on. The other one's outside drying in the sun after washing it. I'm going to paint it. But about this battery hold down, I looked through some of my old miscellaneous parts and I found this. And I thought it might be usable. Now, you guys that's been watching a long time may remember this battery tray is not original. I don't think you can buy the original one. So you can go back and look at how I put this battery tray in. And since it's not original, there's no way to use any kind of original bracket. So with this, I'll show you what I'm going to try to do. Way in the back here, there's a bolt hole. It's awfully close to this. If I could just come off of this with a little ear, drill through it, and then that will hold the back down. As far as the front, I had an old junk pump sprayer for like spraying weeds with Roundup and stuff, and I got this strap off of it. I'm thinking maybe I could come around this and then down to this and loop it back, and I could tighten it with this adjustment here. Just an idea. Let's see if it'll work. I'll give this a try. I'll drill the hole afterwards. There it is, bolted on in the back, strapped on in the front. It's functional. It'll work for now. If I could find some sort of a metal, very slim hook at some other time I'll replace that strap. Been out here this morning bending this dipstick into place. So it's going to clear now the engine cover. I have this super long van dipstick, but it's for a 240. And it fits down into the oil pan, but on a 300, it comes right out of the side of the engine block. So that's not going to work. I wonder what a 300 cubic inch van, like from the mid 80s, dipstick would look like. I've seen one before, I can't remember. But I made an attempt, or started thinking about like modifying this, maybe fitting two pieces together, welding an additional tube. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, that's not going to work, because at the end of this, where you read the fluid level, it's not the same. And I just decided I'm going to wait. And with the doghouse in, I can check my clearances, and they are close. So here's a peek at the engine, inside the engine cover. And you can tell why I had to go with such a small air cleaner. Let's reach in a little further here. You see the distributor is almost touching the side cover. There is the dipstick that I was able to get out of the way. And over here, there is the exhaust. They're going to have a hard time, like I said, getting that pipe away from that cover. Let's get a look at that from underneath. That's the front exhaust manifold, and there's the back one. The back one will have no problem. For those of you that's just joining us, those exhaust manifolds are off of a fuel injected 300. They never came on vans of this age. You would have had something like this. But both of these had cracks, so I decided to go with the upgrade, and I hope it doesn't bite me in the butt. I sent a picture to the exhaust shop, and the guy said we'll figure something out, so I'm trusting that they can do so. Just two more things before I take this thing to the muffler shop. I'm going to order some headlights, put those in. And then back here, we have the most ultimate shin knocker you've ever seen. I mean, it is borderline dangerous. This thing, I've never seen a hitch stick out that far. So I put some PB Blaster on it. It looks like it's going to be difficult to remove. It's moving a bit. it already looks better. It's a lot more safe to walk around this thing at night. Can you imagine walking into that? To compare the length of that to a more modern one, which of course this isn't so old that it doesn't have a barcode actually on the bottom of it. And you can still see that it is a Reese brand. They're still in business, of course. So I would think that that was probably put on in the mid-90s. Yeah. Okay, let's get a closer look at this exhaust job. By far the biggest problem was this. Getting this extreme curve in and down. They also had to make these collectors, I think it's called. Then they had to find some bolts to fit. I didn't have any of that stuff. Aluminized pipe, 2-inch to the muffler and 2.5-inch from the muffler back. Take a look underneath. The other day as I was driving this and had been driving it about 20 minutes, I felt right here and it was still cool. I was amazed. The pipe was fire hot, but the floor was cool. And so I was thinking, if I could just trim the least amount possible, of this. You can't trim much because there's an inner wall right here. So right on the other side of this, there's only about that much room that you could trim slightly. And it's awful that you have to trim this at all, if I have to trim it, because this is the ceiling surface of the doghouse, the insulated weather strip, whatever you want to call it here. So now I think what I'll do is put the doghouse on and get a good look at how close it is to touching it. By the way, I think this is about the best they could have done at bringing this around. So I think they did a real good job. And they warned me I might have to do a little bit of modification. I told them that would be okay. Doghouse fits on fine. Lines up. And latches. Take a look underneath. Drive it down the road, get it warm, and then fill that place on the firewall on the doghouse and see if it's hot or not. All right, I've been going a few minutes. There's no one behind us. We can get up and walk around in this van. There's nobody behind us. So let's fill over here. Totally cool to the touch. After driving it quite a while, it's getting a little warm right in this area. It's not so hot that I can't hold it, but it's pretty warm. So I've got to decide what to do. And this area right here is still nice and cool to the touch. So that is not the problem. It's probably this thing. It might be that. I wonder if I ground that down a little bit. It's a little big. I don't want it to lose strength, but this is still totally cool. What is causing this to get warm? You can see that some of this insulation has deteriorated a bit. I wonder if I put some really good new age insulation all the way to the edge here, would it suffice without me having to trim and cut stuff? It's questionable. Y'all chime in and let me know what you think. And join me the next video. We'll see what's going on next, what our next project is. I might start putting that dash together, the glove box. Also, if I'm going to drive this thing, I need to take care of some of this bare metal. I've got to get the grill back off and finish putting the firewall together. It's really cold with this thing out. So more work to do next video. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the videos. If you want to learn more about these vans, as I'm learning. All right, take care.